Hey, this is Big Guy DIY Robert. Coming to you with another thing I've been wanting to do for a very long time, like years when my kids were teenagers. But anything that has to do with boating always comes with a high price. So I try to do as much work as I can by myself. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is an old boat. This is a 1984 Four Winds. This is my personal boat. I've done a lot to this boat to keep it running. A lot of work on the engine, having it updated, having the drive updated. But just the cost of boating in general is preventing me from updating the boat. But one thing I've always wanted to do with this boat, because as you notice, I have the teak here, teak pad there, and then I got teak up in the nose. The seating in the back is held with teak. I've always wanted to add a full width teak platform on the back, and that was available back in '84 for this boat. But this boat was equipped with this swim platform, which I don't have a problem with for the most part. It was mounted here, through bolted, with 1/4-inch bolts. The problem is when we are sitting at anchor and I get my big lard butt towards the rear of the boat, this is always underwater. And it'd be nice to be able to get on a platform on the back of the boat and just be able to sit there and just let your legs hang off and not be underwater. So I've been wanting to do a full width teak swim platform that came along with the hardware as well. And I've been keeping my eye open out for one for years, but very, very expensive to find it. Well, this summer, when I was going, I happened to stop in South Boston for trying to find a windshield for another boat I was working on. And that's in another video. It's a new windshield I did on a boat. They had a windshield that was from a Crown line. I went there to take a look at it, but the cut of the windshield, the curves were not correct, didn't match what I had in regards to my template. But while I was there, I noticed against their fence, this is a boat salvage yard. It has a ton of salvage parts. I want to say it's in Danvers, Massachusetts. I noticed a whole bunch of teak swim platforms there. And so I asked the guy about them. He said, yeah, go right ahead and I'll give you a price on them. So I started rifling through them, called my son on measurements from my boat. I had to guesstimate what the width was. But when they give you the beam of a boat, especially this old, the beam is based on the widest part of the boat, which is up here, not on the transom. So when he gave me the measurement that he found online, it wasn't this distance right here. It was a bit off, but that's okay. But I managed to get an all teak swim platform along with the hardware. This platform, based on the hardware, I know came off a small cabin cruiser, like say a 26 to a 28-foot Sea Ray that had an inboard engine. It didn't have an IO because it only had 3 posts, and 3 posts would work with that, but we have a drive in the way. I am still going to use the 3 posts, but I'm actually going to add an extra post in here because when I install this, we're going to take a look at the back of here. Obviously, I'll have one here and one to the outside here, but one's going to be off-centered. It's going to be the left of the drive unit. Because of my weight, my size, when I'm standing at the absolute edge of the swim platform, there's going to be a lot of force on it, and I don't want to risk cracking it. So I picked up another stanchion to go to the right side of my drive. What am I going to do with this one? I have no idea. I'll hang on to it probably like I usually do. But that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be 4 stanchions. Yes, it's overkill, but same time, I have to realize I have to kind of overbuild things because of my weight and size. So that's why I said this came off a boat with an inboard, because this center stanchion would have hit the drive on the transom of the boat it was on. The trick to this is the boat is approximately sitting at the angle that it would sit at when it's in the water. I don't want the platform to be parallel to the transom, but I want the platform to actually be up a little. So if I have, say, 3 people in the back and just me up front, the platform will sit almost parallel to the water level. The platform with the stanchions will be installed just above here, but not covering the hull VIN number. So I've already taken my measurements out in regards to what I want to do. I've already penciled my line in on here. I had rested the platform on here to get approximate width of it, which I have made the marks for. Here. So I have to cut it down. So we're going to do a straight cut with a circular saw, but I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to reuse this curve on here to keep it consistent and keep it, that age look. But as you look at the line, it's wider from here to here than it is from the top. I want to try to keep this straight, so I'm going to change this a little so it's a straight cut. The stanchions, or the supports, are made of stainless steel. They're obviously in salt water. See the original here, covered with boat hull paint. Bit of corrosion going on. Barnacles attached to it, but a little elbow grease, elbow work, you can get it cleaned up pretty good. There is some electrolysis that took place. Let's see, where is it? Where I ground it down. Yeah. Zoom in on that. It's almost like an electrical arc. It's at different parts of this, of the stanchion. You can't really see it here on the bracket, but that there actually carries to inside here. And I think really that's it. This one here definitely has it. As you can see. So what I've been doing is just taking these things completely apart. I bought new stainless steel hardware. I'm going to change how this will be installed in the boat in regards to being through bolted to the transom. I'm going to be using stainless steel fender washers on the inside. The original platform that I just took off just had regular washers. That was it. I was very surprised on that it held up. Access to the boat. I'm pretty lucky. I have really good access inside my boat. The engine cover I can remove. I changed the hinges out, so these hinges are a quick release hinge, and then you can see my access back here to the transom wall on both sides. Let's take a look on the other side here. as you can see, there's my transom wall right there, and then you can see the hardware for the eye for when you strapping the boat onto the trailer. And my new stanchions, the bolts will come through right about here. Same on the other side. So there was a cover here which I removed. I'm going to send that out. I'm going to have that rebuilt because the wood has gotten old and tired, and the hinges aren't staying on as nicely. I'll probably end up replacing this trim and tilt pump as well, just because it's old. It's wearing out. But yep, today's project to try to get the stanchions installed on here and the wooden platform cut and screwed in place. As for the holes, I have to clean this up. This is original silicone from 1984. My friend gave me a couple ideas on what to do with this. He said, just get some 5200 and goop up a bolt and put it through, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to kind of finish it off. And so I had purchased, I don't know if it's temperature affected or not, but I picked up Marine Tex. This will harden on the outside. It's a two-part piece. And I got gray. It comes in, I think, just two colors, gray and white. Well, since my hull color is gray, might as well go gray. It would have been nice if they had black, but they don't. So that's what we're going to work on. So at the moment, I'm going to finish this lash stanchion. I'm going to record that. And then I'm going to start cutting the swim platform and get that going. So let me set the camera up, and we're going to put it into time-lapse mode as I work on the stanchion as well as the swim platform. I wanted to show closely I wonder if they had electrical current running through the water as the boat sat at the slip. That can happen. That is common. Well, I say common. Excuse me. Some people have died at marinas in salt water because they don't maintain their electrical lines. They're going through the docks. And if a boat's close enough, this is what happens. Come on there. The electricity starts chewing away at the hardware on the boats. And people have known to die when they've fallen in the water and they get electrocuted. It's because the marina didn't take care of its lines. You hear of, well, I do at least, you hear of a few deaths a year that happen like that because of electrical current going through the water. So we're going to get going, continue working on this stanchion. To give you an idea here, the electrolysis takes place. So I'm just going to grind this down on my wheel just to get rid of the sharp edges. I'm not worried about this because the boat will never see salt water, fresh water, and I don't keep it in the water, meaning like I don't leave it in a slip. I trailer it all the time. But you can see all the pitting. So what I use is just a wire brush on this. I got kind of like it's a stainless steel wire brush on there, and then I got another one on here so I can get into the corners a little easier. This I'll recycle. This is the bolt for the hinge. Where's my hinge? Right here. This is the other stanchion, the fourth stanchion I mentioned. This is actually a stanchion for a chaparral, but the length is just about identical. I think it's off by a ½ inch compared to the stock one. But the ends, are going to work perfect for supporting the outside edge of the platform. So let me show you this piece here. So I'm going to grind these down and then reassemble it. So I rounded the edge off, smoothed the top out. Now one thing I noticed with this platform, see a wooden plug there. Okay, underneath this one, I gotta peel it off, but you can see there's a screw head there. So, question is, how are these platforms kept together? Here's your answer. Now, where is? I think it's this side. Oh, yep. Let me turn it around so we got better lighting here. So every few pieces, there's a screw right in the middle of this. So when I cut this edge off, that's what I cut through with my circular saw. And then when I came around the corner, let's see, these corners here, so there's the plug, there's the screw. So I always wondered how they kept these things together. So there's got to be screws all over the place in there. So I'm gonna pull this screw out, work it out, and then on the other side, this one's not bad, but on the other side, I got the head sticking out. I'm gonna take a grinder and grind that down. So otherwise, the platform's to width. So I'm gonna rest it up against the transom of the boat, and I'll give you an idea what it looks like so far. So when I originally did this with the full width of the platform, I just sat it on my drive and up against the U-bolts that tie the boat down to the trailer, like so. And then I just grab some wood, give it some height. I'm going to take the camera off the stand here and give you an idea. How it looks. Measurements. The original width, I'm saying from here to the other side, is 84 inches. From here out, it's 18 inches. So as you can see, the distance underneath here, I can go down definitely a little lower, but I don't have to because of this. So it's going to be, like I said, I'm going to have it up just a little higher, probably about a ½ inch. But I think looking at it from here and looking at the line for the bumper, I am up a little on this, which is what I want. I think we are doing good here. It's time to start installing the brackets, the supports for this. I'm going to do the two outside ones first, get those mounted in place, and then the left one, and then the right one. But the two outside ones are the most important ones. But let's see. Will they affect? Nope. So I don't get to these holes right now, or like today. It's okay. Even the bottom ones, because they're not going to be blocked. I will still have complete access to them to fill those in. Today is, geez, I don't know what the date is, but in another 5 days, we are having Thanksgiving. So this season is very, very late in regards to season ending. We've had an extremely warm November. Usually at this time, it's in the 30s. And I am getting ready for snowmobiling, but not today. Working on a boat. All right, so let me take this off and start working on the brackets. We got one bracket installed. So what I'm doing, because I'm doing this by myself, I didn't know my reach at the time from above, but I was using needle nose vice grips, and I was putting that on the head of the bolt to hold it in place, because the vice grip is not going to move back and forth with inside here. The bottom one, I just held it in place with a screw so it won't go anyplace. So once I have this through bolted, back the screw out, install the other through bolt, and it's in. So like I showed earlier, these are 1/4 inch bolts that I'm using, stainless steel, 7/16 nut with a fender washer on the back side. And that's it. So one down, one to go. And yeah, we're going to come back. I'm going to pause this. I'm using black silicone, by the way. This is Life Seal, Boat Life. I use this on everything. You can use it above water and below water line. You know, it's a type of silicone that if you ever need to remove the bolt or the screws, you would use this product. Especially when you're holding in transducers or speedo pickups. Any kind of screws that you're going to have below the water line, use this stuff. 5200, you never use unless you plan on never removing it. 5200 hardens to rock hard, and it's not removable. So the only way you can remove 5200 is they have a chemical that you spray on it and it actually breaks it down. So a lot of people will do through-hole transducers using 5200. Good luck getting that transducer out when it goes, because they do go over time. They do make, 3M does make 4200, which is a little more manageable. So if you don't have access to this product, you can use 4200. It's a little harder than this when it hardens up. It's a little harder and it's not as rubbery or as movie. What a dumb word. It's not as soft. A little harder, but 4200 works. But this is what I use the majority of the time for anything that I'm installing. So let me get the other one done, and then I'll start working on the bracket, the bottom part of the bracket. One important note: when you're drilling these holes, you have to countersink them, because if you just do a straight hole like this was done from the factory, this will actually spider crack. The Joko will crack. This was probably done pretty quickly out of the factory, so the cracking is not as bad. Four winds, most four winds I've worked on, I don't always see a lot of cracks on them. They do a good job with their gel coat, but you definitely want to countersink them. Countersink bit, the 1/2 inch countersink bit I'm using. All right. we are installed. I'll give you a close-up. So I chose the black gel coat just because I didn't want the white standing out as much. But if you do work with the black gel coat, I can tell you right now, it's messy. So all of these bolts, which is 2, 4, 8, 10 bolts, these are all through bolted through the transom. And of course you can't see it, but you can see right there the white one on the bottom there. That's one of 4 on this left side. So all I have is this one stanchion right here. That will be through bolted down here, obviously. I think it's a single bolt too on that one versus a double bolt, which is fine because there's so many through the hull now. But that's it for now. So next, yeah, I'm going to clean this platform up, clean the gray up, get it back to a dark color, washing it dark like this, oil it, and then we're going to install it. And it's not through bolted. The screws just drive in through these current holes on the stanchions. And I'm gonna get brand new stainless steel screws for those. And that'll be the next part of this installation of my swim platform on this boat. I'm going to throw it on right now just so you can see what it looks like. Now when I cut this, I cut it where I did not want the front edge of the platform here parallel to this or flush with this. I wanted it to be on the inside slightly. So I got about a 1/2 inch or a finger's width on each side. So I see already I got one backwards. Duh. So this comes out to, sits out about 1.5 inches from the boat. Yeah, that's the distance it sits. Give you an idea, there's 3 fingers. So I'm liking it. Slightly tilted up. I couldn't go really any higher because of the stanchions there. And that's it. All right, we'll come back to this later. Through bolting this. 4 points on through bolting. Here, here, and opposite on the other corner. So 4 bolts. This allows me to pull it tight against the stanchion. So we are positioned in place 2 inches from this corner to the transom. One thing I'm going to take out is got these underneath. When I take this platform off, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I don't need them. Since I'm through bolting it here, I don't need these additional screws. There's 2 other holes underneath this support, right about here. And then I got 4 here, but I'm not sure where they are, how they align up to this. I might have to change something in here, I don't know. And then 2 more holes here. But let me take it off and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have not done this stanchion here. I didn't want to do that. I should say support. So you get one here. But I didn't do this one yet because I wanted to get the this in position first, because that will be the last thing to go on. These are my through bolts. 1/4 or quarter, fully threaded, stainless steel. 2.5 inches. So this is what I'm going to remove on here, because they're not going to do anything for me at all. In regards to this, I have to think about what I need to do. When I took off the original platform, I have these plates. These are stainless steel plates. I'm curious. Could work. What I'm looking at is if the alignment of the hole here does not line up with this being in the center, say the hole's not in the center of this piece, but like more to the edge, I'm thinking of using the plate like that to hold in place. What these plates were for originally is when this was mounted on the transom of the cabin cruiser, and I'm taking a very good guess at this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right, is from this platform there was a ladder that went up further on the back side of the transom. So when you go on a swim platform, you have like 2 or 3 steps up to the top of the transom, meaning the top of this, to get up into the boat, into the rear of the boat. The reason I say that is because I just shrink wrapped a Grady white, an old Grady white that was it a Grady white or C-Ray? C-Ray. That was done exactly like that. It had a swim platform on the back, and then it had another ladder to go further up on the platform to get into the cockpit of the boat. But yeah, we have to see where the holes will line up. And if they do what I think they do, I may end up through bolting it here and back there. I don't know. We'll just have to see when I put it together. So right now, I'm going to clean this thing, and I'll show you the product I'm going to use to clean it. So when it comes to cleaning teak, there's several ways. I mean, you can do soap and what do you call it, just regular soap, but you're not going to get the gray off the teak itself. Then there's a 2-part Teak cleaner. It says step 1, step 2. That one's very, I don't want to say acidic, but if you have any aluminum nearby, it will discolor the aluminum. The first one's the cleaner, and then the second part is a neutralizer. And then you use 2 brushes. You can't use one brush for both. One brush for the acid cleaner, I guess you could call it, and then the second brush would be used for the neutralizer. That stuff works really good. I mean, it makes a teak beautiful, very light in color, like a honey color, a dark honey, that is. But any metal around it, it will discolor the metal. Then there's this one. This is a single step cleaner that I use. I don't know if this is showing backwards on the camera or not, so I'm going to switch the camera around and see if it still shows backwards. So this is just a single step. So you just use one brush. Focus, buddy. You just use one brush to clean this. You don't use a lot. So you wet the teak down, and then you just kind of spray this on there, and take a brush, wash it, brush it around, scrub the teak, and then wash it off with water, and then that's it. For preparing the teak after it's dried, I should not say preparing, I should say for prepping the teak once it's done. That's what I use. I don't know why I'm not focusing. There we go. And it gives the teak that gold dark color, like, you know, like wild honey. So let me get cleaning this teak up. Now you can see how that cleaner works. It takes a lot of that gray off. It gives it a much nicer brown look to it. And then when we oil it, sorry about the light, but when we oil it, it's going to look pretty similar in color. Might be a pinch darker, but pretty much the same color. I put it on the side. When you rinse this off, you got to rinse it off really, really well on both sides with a lot of water. Like I said, this is a single part cleaner. I'm not using a very hard bristle brush. I might try to get in between here using a different brush. I have a brush I use to clean inside the spokes of the rims on the cars. Maybe I'll use that to get in between. But for now, yeah, this is it for cleaning this, and then we'll come back tomorrow and we will install it, get it through bolted on. Today's the day after Thanksgiving, so, and we're supposed to get a really cold snap in the 20s at night. Up north of us, it snowed up to a foot in some of the areas, so I need to get this boat done and shrink wrapped within the week. It's already winterized. I just am way behind on getting this thing done. So we'll come back tomorrow, get that installed. Talk to you then. So before I lose my son, you can see how the cleaning came out. That one part teak cleaning still has gray in it, but I mean, that's fine. That 2-part cleaner would definitely remove the gray, and this would be a much lighter color, but I'm okay with it. I mean, once I oil it, it's gonna look like this. As you can see, I already oiled the back side. I should say the underside. I wanted to get the top done first and then put the oil on afterwards. It's 30 degrees outside right now, so kind of need to get this done. So through bolting this, and as you can see, one of them comes through one side here. If this was a solid piece, like if it was here, I would not do what I'm about to do. But because it's here, I want to spread the force over this. So this plate is going to go there. The rear one, I don't need it because I'm through a much thicker piece there. These are through bolted, but I will need to cut the length of them. They're just too long. So I'm going to get this one finished up. I'm going to put it back into a time lapse. Finish this one up. These were the plates that I showed earlier in the video, and I cleaned them up. Countersunk it. So when I put this in, I will put a screw in here and a screw in here just to secure it better. And obviously with the second plate, we're going to go right here on this one, so it's, you know, symmetrical or balanced. For bolts, these are called pan heads, and then these are called oval heads, which means the bottoms are on an angle, so that way they countersink in and they're a little below the surface of the wood, so it's flush. This obviously will stick out, but stainless steel, 1/4 inch. And yeah, let's get the camera set up and start getting this installed, and then this new stanchion installed, or support I should say. Keep saying stanchion. So this is going to change on this side because I'm using a different type of stanchion. Here's the issue I have. As this hole lines up here, my back hole is right there. So I'm still going to use the plate, but I'm going to change the plate setup. So this hole I'll enlarge to a 1/4 inch hole. On the back side, I'm going to still do a bolt, but this is the old angles that were on the other stanchions. These are 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to put this underneath the dive platform. So I got pressure going across. Let me turn this around. Pressure going across these two into this plate. So the stanchion will be held through here and here, top and bottom. So I'm reusing this. So back to the drill press. I'm going to enlarge this. I'm not worried about the other holes. And then I gotta create a new hole. Right there for this stanchion to work. So we're just going to pause this. No need to film drilling it. We'll come back with this. So as usual, nothing ever works out. Originally, I was going to use this angle piece from the original support underneath here, but the problem is this goes underneath the boat. My holes don't line up. There's no way to really do this because this is against the bottom of the section. So I can't get this in here. So, change of plan. I have a tub full of scrap metal. It's full of angles, flat iron, aluminum, stainless steel, mild steel, all different shapes and sizes to allow me to come up with something. So as this goes underneath, this is going to branch underneath. Let's see, like so. So say this is the bottom of the platform. This will go here, like so. And then as the bolts come up, they will come through here. So this here is galvanized steel. This is from a boat trailer. What did this use? This used to hold a. This was the arm that would hold your jack, your wheel jack, in the nose of the trailer. Depending on the thickness of your trailer tongue, depend on where the bolts went through to hold that wheel, trailer jack wheel in the front. So let's drop this in place. I ended up going to shorter quarter. So you see how I'm putting this together? So before I tighten it, let me show you what it looks like underneath. Here's your top section. And that's how it's going to work underneath. So I'm spreading the load here among all the pieces. Because there is no, because it's a single support versus one long support above the, there's nothing back here holding this section here. So just going to make that a little stronger. And there we go. You can see, looking up, how it's going across much wider section. So, a lot more supportive. So next, we are going to put the supports through here. The top one will be through bolted. The bottom one, I'm not sure. I might just do a screw into the transom. Well, let me get things cleaned up here. So, besides this one stanchion, which, I mean, I really don't need to record this, installing this. No different than the other three. But this is a good example of installing a platform that originally came off a much larger boat and putting it on this boat, on a much smaller boat, downsizing it. Overall, it came out pretty good. I'm curious how much it'll flex. Me being a fat lard, hopefully the bow of the boat doesn't go up. That's not going anywhere. Nice. It's nice. It's going to be so nice to be able to sit back here and just let your feet sit in the water sometimes. So the next thing I have to do is I got to shop around. Won't be done this season. It'll be done next season. Shop around, find a ladder that I'll install here. Again, with the ladder, I'll have to do more than likely the same thing. I'll have to do a plate here. I won't have to do a plate on the left side. And get that done. So that's how you install an old teak swim platform on a boat. It's probably there's pretty close to the same age. If you got any questions or any comments, rifle them down below. Like I said, I bought this up at a boat yard at Salvage's Boats, just south of Boston, and I think it was in Danvers, Mass. Price for this platform was $300, to give you an idea, and that's with all the hardware that came with it, which I thought was very reasonable, considering what the cost of teak in general is on the market. So this is Big Guy DIY signing off. Give me a thumbs up if this was an entertaining video. Not much of a how-to video, but in a way it is as well. And don't forget to subscribe. It helps out. Helps afford something like this. So, all right. This is Big Guy DIY Robert signing off. Have a great boating season. It's time for sled season now. It snowed up north. We picked up a foot of snow in southern Vermont. And where I ride, we picked up 8 inches up in northern New Hampshire. So, have a good one.